Hi there, church. It's another week of loving God, sharing relationships, serving others from the heart of Christ. That is our vision as CPC. And I want to be really clear about something. That vision isn't just about what we do only when we gather. It's about the kind of life we live all the time. So, for example, we have this grandparents group that I just keep on hearing such wonderful things about. The number of grandkids being prayed for by this group is now up to 125. And it seems like every time I run into someone that has been taking part in the group, they're telling me how much they love it. And now they thought they would go and just try it out and have discovered that it has been such a rich time. You might notice in this e-update, and if you check out the bulletin in-person worship, we are continuing to add in-person groups and also a Zoom group, because the kind of relationships we share as the church form us for the relationships that we live all over the place. So, for example, I've really been thinking about my relationship with my grandmother. I've shared she is turning 100 years old, actually tomorrow. And next week I'm going to fly out to California to spend time with my family, and we're going to have a birthday party for Grandma. And Grandma has lived to 100, even though when she was in her early 30s, she almost died. She had lupus and was in the hospital twice for stretches of 6 months each. And it's remarkable what she says about that time. She says that she came to a place where she just accepted the illness that she was going through, which doesn't mean that she liked it, but she knew that it was there, and she came to a place where she just wasn't afraid of it. She relied on other people to care for my mom and her sister. People in the church were huge for how they surrounded her and my mom's family, and provided meals and all sorts of things. And she talks about that time as deeply formative for her life, that she just came to have a deep acceptance of her circumstances in life. An acceptance that wasn't paralysis or just throwing up her hands, but really embracing what was, what is, even if it might be difficult. And this is some of what we're trying to do in these groups, to come together and to share life together and to find that God is, in fact, in the midst of our lives, that our lives as they are, the lives of our loved ones as they are, can be prayed to God, that we can look to each other for support, and also look into our lives and ask, how is it that God is with me, that God is at work, that God is even inviting me to be part of some of God's work in the world? That's why we keep on adding these groups, because we are growing as disciples of Jesus. Jesus accepted people as they were, and yes, went to work in their lives, but not before embracing the world as it is, just as it is, without fear, full of faith, and with all kinds of hope that with God, all things are possible. This is the kind of life we're seeking to cultivate as Christ Church, loving God, sharing relationships, serving others from the heart of Christ. So if you are not part of one of the groups that is forming for this fall, whether it's the Renovare book group, or the Get Off Your Donkey group with Mayfield Methodist Church, or the grandparents group, or the men's Bible study that meets on Wednesday mornings at Arabica, or the newly forming Luminous Lives group that's going to start meeting on the first Sunday of November, to look at people through whom God's light shone especially brightly, I encourage you to do so. It's not just about getting in activity in the church. It's about opening ourselves to each other and being formed to people who don't just say a vision with words, but embody it with our lives. That all of life is about loving God, sharing relationships, serving others from the heart of Christ. Let's be that